These animal boys and men, it's a lesson in genetics. Now, we've seen where Adam and Eve were giants, big giants with head as big as a SUV, and the body maybe is about 5 or 6 stories tall, taller than some apartment buildings. So how man came down to this dwarfed size? Well, people are saying that previously angels who were sons of God were having sex with the daughters of men. But as I've proven that that is not the interpretation of that. The interpretation of sons of God is just that Seth, who was doing what God had asked, offering the right sacrifices of a lamb, he continued to do what God wants, and therefore he was a son of God, and his descendants were son of God. And because he wasn't evil, he wasn't sort of defacing the image of God, and he continued, doing the right thing, and they were continuing to be giants. On the other hand, Cain went one side, and we believe that he started having sex with non-humans. Now, it might be the man, it might be the woman just, doing this stuff, because women could have sex with anything, but man can't, and so on. And there weren't no in vitro fertilization back then. And so, again, maybe that's why God cursed her, because knowing that women could do stuff, they did whatever, and whatever other creation they were doing the sex with was sort of a not necessarily that it had to be a carnivorous animal. It could have been a vegetarian, a herbivorous animal. But after the flood, my special order says that men continued to do this, amalgamating themselves with animals. And so it's highly probable that there was a wide range. Some were carnivorous, some were herbivorous, but they were having sex with these non-humans. And men started to, because you see, Adam and Eve, they might have had as a recessive and a dominant gene, but all were for tall and giant. But when they went now and copulated with an animal, it means that animal can be recessive and the human can be dominant. And sometimes it's going to be in between, and people or organisms have a way of finding the level. So those that look like the giants would stay with the giants, those who look like the animals would go with the animals, and those who were in between might go into caves or something like that. But over time, when this people with this funny thing start going on now, because now is introducing to the human race some recessive stuff, and over time the giants met these who were sort of dwarf thing, and they all got together and so on, and then eventually everybody today now has come from this amalgamated thing. We no longer are of the giants, we are of the mixture. Okay, now these hairy people here that look like animals is just an indication that we all probably still have some of that animal stuff in us. As I said in another video, why Eve God could have predicted that she will have difficulty in childbearing. Now that he's saying, I'm going to make you have difficulty in childbearing. But whatever they did, they're chromatids and parts of our gene that's responsible for eye color and size of head and height and all that. And I'm sure that some way the size of the vagina and the type of skin we'd have. So that maybe Eve's skin was the type that could have expanded easily and still come back, as had been. It had that kind of elasticity. But this flesh that we have today, no. The size of the babies could be still having a little bit of giant in it, but whatever determines the vagina could still have the little animal in it. So here you're having a bigger child than the genetics of the vagina, and so sometimes they have to cut it, they have to do C-section and so on, and this is what caused it. And here we have evidence of this thing. Now these guys looking like gorillas. Now we didn't come from a gorilla, but perhaps the animal we had sex with, some of the offspring probably could have come like gorillas. And then in genetics, if something is done 15 times, it becomes permanent, so that these animals, when they had sex, some might become giants, some might become like the real animal, and some would like the other parent. And others going to remain like them, so they will stay with them. Those who look like giants will go with giants, and those who look like their original animals thing will go with the animals. So I think here we have the giants, here we have these little animal looking people, and I think that's the explanation for that. I think that's how that happened.